Hi, welcome to another edition of SOHO Today. I'm your host, Mary Joan, and if you're just joining us for the first time, SOHO actually stands for Small Office Home Office, and that is what we are all about, helping small business owners and entrepreneurs start businesses, manage them, and grow. And today we have an excellent topic for you. It is all about what is your function, your role as a CEO? And we have with us David Joe, and he is with Elite Business Solutions. And at EBS, they help businesses reassess their capabilities and corporate goals and develop improvement strategies to remain competitive and profitable. Welcome to the show, David.
How are you?
So let's talk a little bit about what does that actually mean, knowing your function as a CEO?
Well, I think most people don't really know what they're supposed to be doing in business. And before I get too far down that path, they're basically three parts of a business. You've got sales, you got operations, you got finance. You have to sell the thing, whatever it is that you're producing. You have to make it. That's the operations. Then the financing is you got to count the money. A lot of us as business owners, we start out wearing each one of those hats.
Right.
And so one of the bad things about that is you keep those hats on throughout the life of the business, and you never really turn the corner. You never really take it to the next level, and so that kind of stagnates you. What we try to teach business owners in different industries is to outgrow those roles and go to the next level. And you have to understand what your function is in the business. And we get it a lot of times. Okay, David, you don't want us to do this. You don't want us to do too much selling of the product. You don't want us to do this. What should we do?
Right.
And so I said, well, there are functions. There are things that you're supposed to be focused on as a business owner.
And what are those functions? What should I be doing?
Well, as a business owner, there are roughly about 5 or 6. You've got to get people to work harmoniously together to produce an end result. People don't leave companies per se. People leave other people. You make me mad, I'm out of here. So we're not really good managers a lot of times. The second thing would probably be you have to be able to manage, and the only way that you can manage effectively is with the right kind of information. And that goes from the information that you get on your P&Ls and balance sheets. A lot of people are trying to run their companies with those documents. And that's the wrong way to go. Those are the wrong documents, because it's really kind of like looking at a snapshot and kind of gauging where you should go. We don't drive forward in a car, always looking in the rearview mirror. So that's kind of the analogy that we give. Third thing is basically that you've got to be a good salesperson. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to sell every product in the business, but you do have to sell staff on ideas. You have to sell them on ways to take the company forward.
And I think overall, what you're really talking about is delegating. And one of the phrases that you use that I just think is a cool phrase, but it has potent meaning, is delegate but don't abdicate.
Absolutely.
So what do you mean?
Well, true delegation is when you're teaching somebody how to do something. And with that comes job descriptions, their systems, their operating procedures, their ways that you can become more systems oriented as opposed to people oriented. The system is really the solution. People kind of, if they're not given a game plan, they'll just kind of deviate, and then the thing kind of, you're just kind of juggling balls, and whatever happens. You got to have a focus. You got to have a plan. And so you keep people on the course, but you have things that you expect of them on a daily basis. You can like the employees, they can like you, but if we're not kind of seeing eye to eye, then the thing kind of goes to pot. So I mean that's true delegation. Abdication is really kind of when you tell Sandy, I need you to do this, and then you leave and you don't give her any direction.
Right.
And 3 or 4 months later, if it even takes that long, Sandy's coming back to you, and you're ready to fire her, but you haven't. You don't have any standard of performance.
That's that's the word I was just thinking of, as standard. And it's not just standard of performance, but it's standards within the company. And so no matter who is doing that particular task, if they leave the company or if they move on to something else in the company, there's either something in writing or that anybody can look to and say, okay, this is how it's been done, and I may be able to put my own spin on it, but I still have to follow these basic rules. And that gives you, as the owner, you are looking at their performance. You are looking at customer service, and you're looking at the overall, really it's the brand of the company.
It really is.
Yeah, what I stand for and is my service levels and what I produce consistent. It's a consistent experience.
Yeah, all of that ties into what the company is all about. With regard to abdication, you've got to start to delegate, and all business owners should really take note of this. You've got to start to delegate the critical tasks of the business as responsibility. That responsibility translates to accountability. That accountability translates to measurement, and if you can measure something, you can manage it.
Right.
You can't manage what you don't know.
We are going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. You're watching SOHO Today. Welcome back to SOHO Today. Today we're talking about knowing your role, your function as a CEO. And with us we have David Joe of Elite Business Solutions. And you can find David's website at ebsworldwide.biz. And we've been talking about a number of different things revolving around knowing what your function is. And I think my big thing is, as a small business owner, you have a hard time recognizing what to delegate. I mean, it leads into this trap of you end up being the only person that can ever do anything. And so what are some things that I could do to recognize, to learn, and what and how to delegate?
How do you delegate? What do you delegate? You look at other companies that are doing kind of what you do and take a look at their standards or procedures. You want to delegate those things, first of all, that you don't do well.
Right.
And even if you do it well, you have to realize that that's not your role. There are other things with regard to the functions of business owners. You've got to be able to plan for tax avoidance and utilization of profitability. You don't want to give Uncle Sam way too much money or overpay in taxes.
Right.
You know, most Fortune 500 companies pay less than 2.5% in tax. So that makes you ask yourself, well, what's your fair share? You certainly want to pay your fair share, but you don't want to overpay.
I want to thank David Joe for being our guest today on SOHO Today. We've been talking about knowing your function as a CEO. And David's website is ebsworldwide.biz, or you can find a direct link on our sohotoday.net site. So in closing, David, what would be the top 2 or 3 points you would tell people on how to delegate?
I would say, first of all, understand what you do and then let other people do what they do.
And even if you're good at something,
may not be your role, might not be your function. Speak to your managers about it, but realize where you stop and they begin.
And doing these things, allowing other people to do their roles and taking yourself out of it, it doesn't mean you're abdicating. You're just allowing everybody to do what their job is. You're doing your job, and as a whole, the company is just better off.
Right, and that's how you break out of the vicious cycle of a job versus a business.
Yeah.
A business employs more of what you just said.
Yeah. I want to thank you also for tuning in today. We're going to have another episode next week, and until then, you can always view this show and all of our other episodes 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, free of charge on sohotoday.net. Email us at info@sohotoday.net. We want to hear from you on what topics interest you, what guests you might want to see, and we also want to know what your area of expertise is, because you never know, you could find yourself on SOHO.